episode 4 of the personal branding series, and we're finally starting to wrap up personal branding. So let me start giving you some examples of personal branding, so hopefully you can find some inspiration on how you want to set up your personal brand. So here's 15 examples of different personal brands that I think you guys will appreciate.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Now come on now.
What's up, icons? It's the iconic fashion figure. And we've been on this personal branding journey for a few weeks now, going from talking about what is a personal brand and why it's important for entrepreneurs. Then we went into some of the trends of 2022 for personal brands, because it is big when it comes to being an entrepreneur and it's a great way to market your business. Last week, I even sat here and did a whole skit for you guys on creating personal brand statements, so that way you have your pitch down when it comes to introducing yourself, what it is that you do, and talking about your businesses. And that can be in a networking setting, or that can just be walking past someone and you're introducing yourself or getting to know someone. So now let me go through some examples so that way you can find that inspiration on how you want to set up your personal brand, get some ideas for yourself. And I have a variety of examples, so that way those of you that want to actually be like the face of your brand or become an influencer, there's examples for you. And then there's some that are CEOs, but you don't actually see them at the forefront of their business unless you really deep dive to find out who owns that business, yet they do have personal brands. So I'll be showing you both ends of the spectrum and then some in between. So with the first one, this one is definitely someone that is forefront of their business. You guys most likely know him. And I'm starting out with Spectacular from Pretty Ricky, and don't laugh because he actually does have a personal brand. Now, we all probably know him from being in the group Pretty Ricky, but then he's lately been doing more of the entrepreneur thing, a lot of online marketing, social media, all that stuff. We've been hearing a lot about him on the internet as far as what he can do to grow online businesses. He does like his seminars where you can attend. There's a free one that you can attend. You'll hear him a lot on different podcasts and different type of interviews. And the reason I added him to my 15 is because if you listen to the way he introduces himself every time he's either on a podcast or interview, in his seminars, his story is the same every single time. Like, I mean, every single detail. He talks about where he came from, how he grew up selling candy in high school, you know, his mom struggling, his dad being in prison, and then how he grew from there. His story is always the same. So that's why I started with him, just because last week's video talked about our pitch. So if you are still struggling with your pitch and you really need to hear some other examples, I recommend looking into his story. There's a few different podcasts just on YouTube alone where you can listen to his pitch from different interviews that he's done, and I promise you his story remains the same. That's why I want to use him as an example, because with personal branding you want to stay consistent, and he sure enough stays consistent. Now, as far as his businesses, most people know, you know, his one business, if you know of it, you know he owns it. I don't think he's the face of it though. I had never looked deep into it, but like when you go on his social media, it is just him. Like, so you're really looking at him because he also is a celebrity, so people know who he is. But I really want you guys to focus more on his story and his pitch and how consistent it is. So then going into example number 2 is Sara Blakely, and Sara is the owner of Spanx. If you look at her social media, you can see her social media is like this mom, but then she's also a boss, so she's like this mom boss. She's all for women empowerment, but the reason I added her as an example is because the moment you go look her up, you can see what she's about. So I just told you, she's a mother first. You can see it all over her social media, and then of course her business, how it got started, you know, where Spanx was introduced from. She's all about women empowerment, which gave her the idea of Spanx. It just sets the tone of who she is. Her personality shows through, and that's why I used her as an example as well. Example number 3 is Lola V, and for those of you that don't know who Lola is, she is the owner of Miss Lola, which is the online shoe store. They also have locations in Los Angeles. It used to be called Lola's Shoutique. She's not the face of her brand at all. Actually, especially if you didn't follow the Lola Chic journey, if you're not from LA, or you really just didn't care who owned the store, you probably wouldn't know who Lola V was, because she's usually not the face of her brand. But if you actually go on her Instagram, of course she's letting you know she owns Miss Lola. You know, she has some information. Like, if you scroll back in her Instagram, you can see the beginning journey of when she started Lola Chic and like her accomplishments and the behind the scenes and all that stuff. But for the most part, her Instagram is now about her family. She's a very family friendly person. It's all about her kids and her husband. But I encourage you to check her out as well, because she's done a good job at creating this personal brand. She's more of like that online Instagram influencer personal brand. Not necessarily an influencer though, but she definitely has an online presence. So for those of you that really aren't into social media and don't really want to grow a personal social media, her example may not be for you, but I still encourage you to check it out just so you can see how her personality shows through in her personal brand. So these next few, I'm just going to keep up with the whole Instagram influencer type of personal brand, and then we'll go into the other ones. So for number 4, I'm on number 4, right? Yes, number 4 is Jai Nice, and she's the owner of Closet Envy. Any of you guys that's followed her from the beginning of her journey, you probably already know who she is and what she's about. She's definitely more of the Instagram influencer type, but she's not really the face of her brand. She built a personal brand just by using social media, so she has a brand as herself alone and then has her business on top of it. And if you look at her social media, not only is she, you know, showing you Closet Envy and the clothes and her style and all that stuff, she also shows her personality. For example, like she likes to cook. And then of course that then turned into a business for her as well. And then similar to Jai Nice is Cometria Lilly. She's the owner of Lily's Closet. She's also not the face of her brand. Actually, when I first followed Lily's Closet, I didn't know who the owner was. It wasn't until later I ended up figuring out who she was, but she's not the face of her brand, yet she does have like this Instagram brand, an online brand. She is a personal brand. She's all about women empowerment and helping women grow their businesses, so she does have like a mentorship as well. And then if you go on her Lily's Closet website, on the About Us page, she does talk about herself. She introduces herself. So not only does she have an online presence for her personal brand, but she also introduces herself through her business without actually being the face of her business. Number 6, Monique Rodriguez. She is the owner of Mielle, the hair care line. And as soon as you go on her Instagram, the bio right off the bat tells you who she is, what she's about. So her bio, that is an example I recommend using. So the moment people go onto your social media, if you have personal social media separate from your business, they already know what you're about before even looking at like your pictures and videos. On her website as well, she mentions, you know, who she is and how she got started on her About Us. But then on her personal Instagram, she also does a lot of promoting with her own brand and within her niche, so like the hair care niche in general. So although she may not be the face of her brand, if you go on her personal brands page or her personal Instagram, she still maintains that same niche, that same idea that fits with her actual business. So if you know her, you know her personal brand, you know what her business is about, because they go hand in hand. Okay, so now let's switch off from the whole Instagram influencer and start giving you guys some other ones that are a little more low-key, and they may not be, you know, the forefront of their business even if they're not the face of the brand. And I am going to put this disclaimer in there that I'm probably going to start pronouncing a bunch of names wrong, so bear with me, but I'll put the names on the screen or in the description box or something in case you guys want to look these people up. Okay, so example number 7, Deshawn Amira, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. That is the owner of Maven, which is a platform where you can buy hair and also be matched with a stylist to install your hair. And then if you go on his social media, it's very low-key. So again, this is someone, if you want to have your own personal page but you don't really want to broadcast it, you're not really trying to become an Instagram influencer, but you're keeping personal separate from business while still, you know, maintaining the ethics of your business. This is an example here. Deshawn is very low-key, but the brand itself is not small at all. He actually has a big brand. This is like one of those people where it's like, you see they got money, but it's like, what the heck they do, because you don't really know what they do until you find out that they own that business. But if you do go on his brand's website, he does have on the About Us about him, and he even has a video. So like mentioned in the trends 2022 for personal branding, video is one of those trends for this year, and he's already on that. And then for example number 8, Chic Ibeuro. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. This is the owner of Juvia's Place. And then her Instagram is literally all about her brand and all about Nigeria. So she really kept her personal brand attached to her business. But it at least gives her audience, if they want to really look her up and see who she is and what she's about, there is a personal page out there. But then it ties back to her business. So how do you actually find her and know that she's the owner of Juvia's Place? Well, on her business's website, she does mention herself on the About Us page. So once you go on there and you go to look her up on social media, you'll find her, but then it's talking all about her brand and all about Nigeria, which is like a representation of her brand. And then number 9 is someone I followed for a while, which is Shayla Janel. She is the owner of Random and Chic, so it's like a resale clothing online boutique, and she also teaches you how to start a resale business as well. But even on like her personal Instagram, she keeps that vintage look that matches her Random and Chic business. She is the face of her brand, I will mention that so you guys know. But if you look at the personal brand and the business, you can tell they work together. And then throughout her personal Instagram, she's always sharing her journey on how she got started and how she got to where she is now. And then on her businesses website, she does mention herself in her About Us. And then next, number 10, we have Beatrice Dixon. She is the owner of Honey Pot, and on her personal page it represents her brand, so she's talking mostly about her brand, meaning her actual business, the Honey Pot, but her bio describes exactly who she is. So the first thing you see on there is that bio, and it's talking about exactly who she is. So if you really want to know her and relate to her, her bio is telling you who she is. And then on her business page, so on Honey Pot, she does mention herself in the About Us. But the thing that really stood out for me as far as her personal brand, which you guys may have seen already because it played out in the media when Target aired that commercial for Honey Pot, and she talked about, you know, she wanted to be like the inspiration for little black girls, you know, to be able to grow up and truly do what it is that they want to do. And there was the whole controversy about it because she said little black girls and everybody felt it should be all girls. I mean, she stood behind exactly what it was she said. She explained herself and what she meant by that, because of course she's not trying to say only little black girls, but she explained what she meant, and regardless of the controversy that was surrounding that commercial, she still remained true to herself. And then if you go on her Instagram, you can tell she's still sticking with, you know, what she truly believes in, and this is who she is. So it's easy for her to create that personal brand because she's remaining true to herself and she's staying consistent with her story. And then at number 11, we have Michael Elliot. This is the owner of Hammers and Nails. It's a men's grooming store. And Michael Elliot was on Shark Tank, where he did not receive any offers at all because most of them didn't really believe that Hammer and Nails would be, you know, as successful as it is, just because they didn't know how many men would actually use it. But let me tell you, he has several locations, so clearly all those sharks were wrong. And Michael Elliot, his social media is very low-key. You wouldn't have any idea who he was until you read his bio, because even I was shocked. And he's the writer of Like Mike, Brown Sugar, and Just Right. So this guy is actually like a big-time person on top of being an entrepreneur of running Hammers and Nails, but we never would have known that. He's one of those people that are just truly low-key, but he's making his money. So for those of you that that really just don't want to be known when it comes to your businesses. You're not looking for fame. Michael Elliot is an example for you. You can find out about him. You can Google him. Most of these people I'm sharing with you in this video, you can easily Google. You'll find them almost immediately and you can learn about them. But he's not pressed to, you know, put himself as the forefront of his business and make it known, you know, hey, I own all these businesses. I wrote all these movies. Like, I'm that guy type of person. No, he's very low key. And then I saw on his Instagram too that he's getting ready to open up a boutique as well. So he's got a lot going for himself for someone that is very low key. And then number 12 is Pernell Caesar. He is the co-owner of Black and Gold Coffee. So it's a black owned coffee brand. He has a partner as well. His partner is Rod Johnson. Both of them are pretty low key when it comes to social media. Rod definitely is very low key. I almost didn't even find his Instagram, but the other one you can find. They're just both very, you know, almost like Michael Elliot. On their business page though, they do mention themselves in the About Us, and there is a video on there. So for those of you that are looking for examples on how to incorporate a video on your About Us, this is another example for you. But either way, both Pernell and Rod, I can see that they mainly portray themselves as, you know, family friendly people, but they're also business owners. And then number 13, we have LeAnne Membus, and she is the owner of Boss Mag. She's heavy on promoting women empowerment, black empowerment. She's all about black women, women in general. She's all just in general about empowerment. She also builds websites for those of you that need your website built, but I encourage you to check out her social media as well, because you get an idea of someone that is in the process of creating a personal brand. So she is, you know, like an up and coming entrepreneur, and I actually don't know how long she's been in business, so I probably shouldn't say up and coming because she could have been out for a while. She's just a little low key. She's not like an Instagram influencer, or maybe she's in the process of becoming an Instagram influencer. But for those of you that are looking to build up your social media, this is one I recommend checking out. And then number 14, we have Kristen Henderson, which is the owner of Black and Green. And then her social media is another good example to show, you know, who she is and what she's about. And then it just really felt like her personal brand also ties in with her actual business, because the Black and Green is supposed to be, you know, very natural. And if you go on her Instagram, the whole feel and the vibe of her social media is very natural, very clean, but her overall personality really comes through as far as, you know, family oriented, black empowerment, and just in general natural. And then last and final, just for this video, I probably could have kept this going on forever because there's a bunch of people out there that I'm sure you guys are aware of. I just didn't mention. But number 15 is Shantae Lundy, and she's the owner of Black Girl Sunscreen. Her bio and her overall social media truly describes who she is. Like, the moment you go on there, you can see who this girl is and what she's really about. And then on her business page, she also mentions herself in the About Us, so you can tie her business back to her. So that's all 15 examples. And the reason I chose these people is because, one, it gives you a variety of personal brands depending on what type of personal brand you want to create. But then it also shows, like, when you go on these pages of, you know, each one of these individuals I mentioned, you can get a feel of who they are and what they're about, which I mentioned as, you know, one of the tips on creating a personal brand, because when people find your social, they want to be able to feel like they can relate to you. So when you go on a lot of these people's social media, you can immediately see what they're about, and you can find something you can relate to. Or even if you don't want to follow them, you just want to see who you're sending your money to, like I mentioned in episode 1, you can see that they're real people. Some of them may be Instagram influencers, so you may already know them, and that's why you're comfortable with them, and they have a huge following, so you can see other reviews. Some of them may not have a following at all. They may be very low key and just sticking to, you know, the people they know, but you still go on their social media and you can still see they're real people. You can see that there's something that you may have in common with them, so you feel comfortable shopping with them. That's what that personal brand is about when it comes to building your business. You want people to feel like they can relate to you and then build that trust with your customers. So really quickly before I end the video, there was this research article I was reading where I guess they surveyed like some people who wanted to give their descriptions of their personal brand and what it's about. So these are some other examples just from regular people talking about what personal brand is to them. So for one person, they said for their personal brand, they dress the part and they check for grammar and tone of voice. That simple. And of course, most of these descriptions in this research article I was reading, they're a lot longer because this is more like a conversation. They just took out excerpts and put it into their article. And then another person said that their personal brand is to portray, you know, their knowledge of the industry and the dynamics of their business. Another person said their personal brand is just a way that they conduct themselves. Another example of someone's personal brand was it's formal, professional, and a trusted advisor. Someone said that their personal brand portrays them as cross-cultural awareness, open mind, and a control freak. Another person said, I look like I know what I'm talking about. Someone says they highlight their marketing skills. Another, professional, communicating appropriately, dressed right, clean, calm, and under control. My brand depicts the impact I can make. I stress my experience. I insist on excellence instead of the latest hot approach. And those are all examples of emphasizing competence. Now, another category of some of the different people that explain what their personal brand is about, this one is emphasizing relationship building and warmth. So they show passion, enthusiasm, and they are engaged. Another person said a good networker. And then another said their personal brand is I'm a personality, genuine and trustworthy, integrity and strong work ethic, hardworking, good relationships with people. The golden rule is my brand. My clients know me as a person. My brand is my personal story. I didn't finish college and always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Happy-go-lucky team player. Foreign Marine, local guy, and a human being. So those are examples of just building relationships. You notice how all those examples, they're giving something that people can relate to. And then here's a couple of combining both. So showing competence and also relationship building. So best of both worlds. If you can nail that, your personal brand is going to be solid. So one is curious, empathetic, and competent. Another is professionalism and a personality that says this call will not be painful. So it's letting you know I'm gonna be professional, but I'm also human. Honest, fair, willing to look outside of the box to solve problems. I stay professional with a fun side. So those are just random, regular people that are describing their personal brands. So if you can nail competence and relationship building in your personal brand in one, you will have a pretty solid personal brand. That's it for this week's video. There's one last episode for the personal branding series. Before we go into intermission with a few other videos I just wanted to throw into you guys before we get into our next series. Thank you for watching.